So maybe the wildest story in hockey right now is what's going on with the Alberta Junior Hockey League, also known as the AJHL for short. It's not exactly a league that lands itself at the front of thought for hockey fans very often. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's junior A hockey, not even major junior. It's not even WHL or CHL level, but it's nothing to sneeze at. These are still pretty good players. It's still a pretty good league. But right now, this league is in absolute turmoil. They've been canceling a lot of games. In particular, they've been canceling games that happen to involve the Spruce Grove Saints, the Sherwood Park Crusaders, the Blackfalds Bulldogs, the Okotoks Oilers, or the Brooks Bandits. And the reason why they're doing that is because these 5 teams have decided that starting next season, they're no longer going to be part of the AJHL. They decided that they're going to depart from the AJHL, and now they're going to play in the British Columbia Hockey League, the BCHL, which is basically the BC equivalent of the AJHL. Now, the reason why they're doing that is because the BCHL has basically decided that they want to become something of a rebel league in Canadian junior hockey. So they've decided that they're going to depart from their affiliation with Hockey Canada, and they're going to stop following all of the rules that Hockey Canada places upon them as part of that affiliation agreement, and basically they're going to allow their players to come from literally anywhere in Canada. So previously in junior A hockey, wherever your league was located, the boundaries, basically the geographical boundaries of your league was where your players had to come from. So if you were playing in the BCHL, then all of your players had to come from BC. If you were playing in the AJHL, then pretty much all of the players had to come from Alberta. If you were playing in the SJHL, the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, your area is a little bit broader because they also happen to cover Manitoba. But then similarly with Ontario, there's another league in Quebec, and there's another further league out in the Maritimes. So when your team is out doing its scouting and doing its recruiting and trying to get players to commit to your program, that was pretty much where you had to go and do it. And now the BCHL has decided, it's like, well, we don't just want access to the best players in BC. Now we want to get access to the best players anywhere in Canada. And the BCHL is a pretty good league. They are apparently considered to be the best junior A league in Canada. So there are good reasons why the best players from across the entire country, and even in other places in the world, I mean, not just the United States, but even so far as Europe, might decide that they might want to come and play their hockey at the junior A level in BC. And now, having broken away from Hockey Canada, their new Rebel League status is going to allow them to do that. And so once they join the BCHL next year, these 5 Rebel teams, they're going to have the same advantages. They're going to have to play up to that level of competition, but they're going to be able to get the players to do that from wherever they need to get them. And executives at the AJHL are apparently extremely unhappy with it. Apparently they are so unhappy with that playing out the remainder of the season, they made an announcement here today. Today would happen to be the 24th of January in 2024. So as of January 24th, 2024, the only games that those teams are going to be allowed to play throughout the rest of the season are games against the other Rebel teams. Everything else is being canceled. Regardless of what other team was playing in that game, where the game might happen to be, now those games are going to be canceled. And so now there are going to be a lot of other teams that are going to miss out on their gate money for those games. A lot of fans and a lot of season ticket holders that now are going to miss out on something that they've actually, in the case of season ticket holders, already paid for. And of course, the players on those teams, and of course also on the Rebel teams, are also going to miss out on their opportunities to play. Apparently YouTube doesn't like it very often, when we put things in terms quite like this, but there's really only one way to say it. This is bullshit. This is a heaping helping of horseshit. And whoever it is at the AJHL that's making these decisions to cancel these games, quite frankly, they either ought to be fired if there's somebody in the league with the ability to do that, or they ought to resign their position. There's no two ways about it. I don't talk about it in this podcast very often, but I'm actually I'm an avid fan of junior hockey. And as a matter of fact, when I take a vacation, that's what I tend to do. Is I tend to just go someplace where there's a WHL team, or an AJHL team or an SJHL team, and I'll just I'll pick a weekend, I'll travel, and I'll go to a few hockey games. Nothing too spectacular. They're not real expensive to go to. I mean, the travel is the costliest part of it. But that's what I do, and I've been to games all the way from Brandon, Manitoba, as far out as Seattle. So I've been to games all over the place. I make that time, I make that investment, and it's funny to call it an investment actually, but I take that time and I spend that money and I do that. So I think that I'm probably pretty qualified, to speak with the voice of a lot of fans when I just say this is absolute nonsense. I think that these executives at the AJHL, they have obviously lost the plot, and they have obviously forgotten what it is that what they do is about. It's not about them. It's not about some guy sitting in a league office. Everything that every hockey league in the world does is about two groups of people. It's about the players, and it's about the fans. But mostly it's about the players. And when the egos and the sensibilities of the league brass are so butthurt that they're going to take it out on the players, there is obviously significant need for those individuals to not be in those positions anymore. Not only should these people be punted out of the AJHL, they should be blacklisted in any league, anywhere. These are people that have, quite frankly, just shown themselves to not be a fit character to be involved in any league, anywhere, at any level of hockey. Whatever they've decided that their problem with the decisions of these 5 teams might happen to be, they must know deep down that canceling all of these games, taking it out on the players, taking it out on the fans, whatever their problem may happen to be, it's not a problem that can be solved this way. And in fact, I would go so far as to say that every single time that they have canceled one of these games and made one of these decisions, they've actually shown these 5 teams that they've made the right decision. That they're moving away from an organization that is maybe just a little bit too bush league, and moving into one that is hopefully quite a bit better run than what's going on with the AJHL. I think that's a shame. Because, this is a league that I would like to see succeed. I mean, it's true that they're not the NHL, and they never will be. They're not the WHL, and they never will be. But the least that anybody who is associated with this league in any way, shape, or form, whether it is as a team executive, whether it is as a team, a player, or a fan buying a ticket, I think that they have every reason in the world to expect that better decisions are going to be made than the ones that are being made in this organization right now. And if those people can't do that, then they need to go find the nearest exit and just relieve the organization of them. Because I definitely do think that if there were a few teams in this league, aside from the ones that have already made the decision to leave, if every other team in this league was already contemplating the idea of moving up and playing in the BCHL rather than the AJHL, I think that what this league is doing right now is probably going to push at least a few of them in that general direction. There are teams in Canmore, the Eagles, in Drumheller, the Drumheller Dragons, the Calgary Canucks. Geographically, they are definitely located in a place where it is potentially very advantageous for them to make that decision to join the BCHL. I mean, all things considered, when you consider just the amount of the additional travel that teams that in particular that Spruce Grove and Sherwood Park are going to have to subject their players to, and the amount of extra expense that is going to subject their teams to. I'm not entirely sure about the wisdom of that decision to that end. But to teams in the southern half of the province that are much closer to the BCHL teams, maybe jetting to the BCHL was something that they were already contemplating. I will bet you that they are probably thinking about it again now. Probably thinking about it a lot more seriously. I wonder if by the end of this season, maybe a few more teams will have made the decision that they wanted to work. Or maybe teams in the other half of the province might decide that they would rather play in the SJHL. It's definitely an option for Lloydminster. It's definitely an option for Bonnyville. You know, that's definitely something that can happen. Camrose, Kodiaks, yeah, they could definitely make a go of it in the SJHL, and I'm willing to bet that the SJHL would be more than happy to take them on. They were decided that they wanted to just get away from this league management, from this league executive. And this league executive right now is giving them every single reason in the world to do exactly that. And in terms of the players themselves, you know, the parents of the players, I tell you, if I was the parent of a player in this league right now, I think that I would be absolutely apoplectic about what's going on. You know, in the sense that, you know, your kid is away from home, you know, playing hockey, trying to pursue the goal of eventually getting into like a lower division NCAA team, maybe getting a scholarship and getting their university education paid for. That's actually where most players, whereas in the WHL, most players are working towards hopefully playing in the NHL. That's kind of the end goal for a lot of the players in these junior A leagues. And now opportunities, you know, to grow and develop those skills, and now opportunities to grow and develop as a player. You know, opportunities to play in games and show scouts, you know, exactly what it is that you can do are now being taken away from these players. If I was a parent of one of those players, you know what? I think that a Rebel League, or literally anywhere else possible, would be looking like a pretty attractive option right about now. And there is absolutely no way that the executives in this league could not understand that this is exactly what they are doing to their league, and it's unconscionable that they seem to be sticking to their guns on this. So it might seem like a pretty extreme statement, but I just don't really see I don't see much of a place in hockey anywhere for any of these guys if this is the way that they're going to make these decisions. And unfortunately now we've gotten to the point where it is now literally too late. Like they could change their minds, they can make a decision. Like, fine, okay, hey, guess what, guys? Now it's too late. Now I think maybe you need to get out of there and let the incoming people, your replacements, come in there and make the right decision. I think it's too late for you. I think you gotta go. And I know that speaking for myself, personally, I am not going to go to another AJHL game until I can get onto that league's website and I can look down the list of the board of directors and the league commissioner and the president and the vice president and pretty much everybody on that page right now, and I can confirm that it's like, yep, okay, they are all gone. And until such a time as I can go to that page, I can scroll down and I can see that all of that is the case. I'm not going to support this team with my dollar. I'm not going to support this league with my money anymore. Because there's just no denying it. It's too backwards. It's too broken. It's going to have to be fixed. And until such a time as it gets fixed, sorry guys, I'm done.